Hello punters and welcome back to another preview. This is of course the Rosehill card that I'll be previewing ahead of Saturday. Looking at the track at the moment, the weather conditions are looking at heavy track. We're looking at a heavy 8 at this stage. I've really done the form around that. Potentially going back to soft. As I mentioned with Caulfield, a bit of rain about in Sydney, so not too sure how much the track will dry up there at Rosehill. So done the form based off a heavy to /7, soft 7 if we get a downgrade. So look at the first on the card, 1100 metres. It's the Everest Carnival Handicap. Of course, the Everest is not all that far away. A couple more months till we get cracking to spring. Cannot wait for that. It's going to be fantastic. So look at the speed map in this first race on the card. And the start at 11:30 at Rosehill, so keep an eye on that. And also Caulfield's having an early time start, so be ready for that on Saturday. I know that they've generally been starting quite early around the 11:30 mark, but just in case you didn't know, make sure you're ready to go first thing in the morning. We want to get straight on and get the winners early. So look at the right speed map for the first on the card. I'd say number 1 Lanagira out of barrier 6 will be quite prominent from forward. Say number 8 Dream Circle out of barrier 9 will be forward. Blitzer and Iconic Star will probably use inside barriers to push up and push for the lead as well. And Intrepidatious usually goes forward, but I don't think it might not be able to do so over barrier 11, so I'll be interested to see what that horse does from there. But for me, look, this first race just looks to suit really nice for number 3 True Detective. This horse resumes first up off a spell. Won its maiden at Rosehill first, beating Moss Crown. Then of course it went for a spell. So 2 good trials since. It finished 2 lengths off Frosty Rocks in a trial and 1.3 lengths off Best Stone in a 1,045 metre Ramwick trial. And I think this horse, if it's come back nicely, 2-year-old colt for Chris Waller, it's just going to get the right round of the race. Hugh Bowman on board. I think it'll get a really nice track into the race and should be able to finish over the top of these. I think it's got a great chance to win. So I've got it on top to beat number 5 Luciello. This horse was sensational when he beat Roman Wolf from the back last time out at the Kensington track. Doesn't mind the heavy track. Of course, that was its win. It was rated heavy track at Kensington that day. But I just don't think there's as much speed this time in to come in from Luciello. So he'll have to produce a pretty good turn of foot to win. But prior to that, it was only 2 lengths off Leviathan. The form out of that's pretty good. So I think this horse has got a really good chance to come off that maiden run and run well once again. So I've got it in for second, paying nice odds as well, $7.50. It's pretty good to take. In for third, I do like number 1 Lanagira. I think this horse won pretty nicely last time out at Newcastle on pace. It was over the 900 metres, won by 3.3 lengths, as you wanted odds-on favourite to do. But this horse, bit of a query jumping out to the 1,100 metres. This horse, I think, for me, is so far has only shown its ability over the 1,000 metres and, of course, the 900 at Newcastle. So I couldn't really take it on top based off that. I want to see it do it at that further distance before I can really get into it going forward. So I've got it in for third. In for fourth, I do like number 9 Spender. This horse has been extremely well backed off 2 really good trials. Look, the trials are fantastic, but for me, I'm stunned that it's been so well backed. But based off the form, I just couldn't put it on top. But really respect that betting move. I was pretty keen to put in my numbers based off those trials, but the betting move has made it even more good to take into this race, I guess. So really going to have a real close eye on that. But for me, number 3 True Detective, if it's shown, I think it'll be hard to beat, and with Hugh Bowman in the saddle. So I've got it on top to beat number 5 Luciello, and for third, number 1 Lanagira, and for fourth, number 9 Spend. Race number 2 on the card, 1500 metre benchmark 74 race. A few of these we've been seeing around quite a lot. This race looks to have a lot of speed. I'd say 5 of the outside barriers, horses will be looking to get forward, and Call Me Royal might be able to find the top. I think Cinquedo might use barrier 2 to get forward. Number 7 Plenty, we know pulls its head off over races, so it'll be forward. Again, it's the big what if it can settle or not. But I do think that, a lot of speed this race, and I think it was set up. I said this last time out, I was really disappointed that it didn't quite get there. But number 2 Face Off, so I think it has to overturn the tables on Call Me Royal this time round. It was just such a good run from deep in the field. Call Me Royal was really good and battled on well, and But I just think this horse is going to overturn it this time round with all that speed on the race court. It'll set up for a face-off once again. It can get the job done this time round. So I've got it on top to beat number 1, Call Me Royal. Look, based off that run, I mean, it did beat face-off fair and square, so I've got to have it in again. That, of course, is on a heavy track. This horse doesn't often run on the wet going. It's had 2 starts on a heavy for 1 win, and that's it. No soft record at all, but loves running at Rosehill. This horse hasn't missed a place from 4 goes, and it's had 1 win, 3 placings. So it'll be in the finish once again. I just think a stack of speed this time around will suit face off perfectly to turn the tables there. In the third, I like number 6, Unguarded, for Richard and Mott Freeman. This horse beat Black and Tan really impressively last time out at the Kensington track in a midweek race. And of course, Black and Tan came out recently, won well. And this horse was also 0.3 length off Sellers at Warwick Farm, who goes around this race at big odds as well, which I'm going to mention in a second. But I just think that horse will be up on the speed, might be able to follow Call Me Royal across and lob into a nice spot, and will prove hard to run down based off that last start win. But talking about number 8, Sellers, it was really disappointing last time out at Randwick Kensington track. It didn't come on and finished last, but prior to that, as I said, I did beat Unguarded and just paying $19. I think it's well over the odds. If we can get down the soft sort of track, it will be a little bit more appealing. But it's had 3 starts on a heavy for just the 1 placing, but it's had a win on the soft track, and of course that was when it won at the Warwick Farm. So if we can get back to that soft range, I think Sellers has got a good chance of Tommy Berry in the saddle. So just to recap the numbers, I do like number 2, Face-Off on top to overturn the tables on number 1, Call Me Royal in for second. In for third, number 6, Unguarded. In for fourth, number 8, Sellers. Race number 3, it's the Hot Tab Highway, 1400 metres. A lot of these are going around that have won or been the same races, so look, it's really hard to weigh up the form on some of them, but I'd say number 1, Gumshoe, will shoot out barrier 14 and get 5 in the front. Electrified might get 4, but it's not a whole lot of speed. I'd say S's Rose might be forward as well as Nashian, but I can see an easy lead for number 1, Gumshoe, and I think it'll be really hard to run down. It was a really good win last time out on the heavy track, being I Am Capitan, and I think second up it will improve off that first up performance and will win again. I think it'll be really hard to run down based off the speed map that we see here. So paying $4.40, $1.95 for the place looks really appealing. So I'm happy to have it on top to beat number 12, Nashian. Really charged home well from the back last time out buying Gumshoe. That was an impressive run. If we could do that again, it'll go close. So I've got it in for second. In for third, I like number 7 in Upper House. This horse won really nicely, beating Zardoro last time out. Was a sensational run. That was on a soft going, which it obviously had no wet track form prior to that. It had 6 goes at the soft going for no placings or wins, and then it comes out and wins that last race. So, but I mean, you've just got to read it based off it. I mean, it's not missed a top 4 finish from 5 starts his preparation. So to be in the finish once again, I would have thought. And he has to carry the 57 kilos down the weights. It was a later step actually, so you're looking at that, actually should be a bit higher up in the market based on its weight. But they're going to run a good race again. Number 7 in Upper House in for third. In for fourth, I do like number 2, Zardoro. For, as I just mentioned, if I'm going to have Upper House in, I've got to have Zardoro. It was only just beat by half a length by it last time out, so I think it can be in there in the finish again. So just recap the numbers on the highway race number 3. Number just lost my numbers, hang on. Number 1, Gumshoe on top. That's fine. I'm looking at all the other numbers and not looking at number 1s. Right, so number 1, Gumshoe on top to win the highway. In for second, number 12, Nashian. In for third, I like number 17, Upper House. And in for fourth, number 2, Zardoro. Race number 4, benchmark 78, 2,000 metre race. So look at the speed map here. I'd say Dylan's Romance will find the top. Devil's Lair might try and be prominent from the inside barrier. So Ivy's Court, Chief Kittle will try and get it forward, as well as Semper Fidelis. And Hogmanay won't be too far off him either, I wouldn't think. But look, this race really just sets up nice for number 2, Primitivo. Based off that last start performance, it was a sensational win. Beat Wu Gok, who of course Frank the Form coming out one last week quite well. So the form is sensational. It's definitely going to be one of my best bets of the day. Number 2, Primitivo on top to win once again. I think it can beat number 10 Waking Moment, who of course is just getting better and better each run. It was really good last time out, chased by Tory Joy on the heavy track. Third up here, the step up in distance will suit. Last time it came out to this sort of distance range, it raced 6.2 lengths off Snip Fit at Mooney Valley. That was we finished fourth on that occasion. Then it was 4.1 lengths off Sweet Mischief at Sandown. So this horse will get better the further it goes. So I think that step from the 1800 up to the 2000 metres will suit nicely. It'll be in the finish. So that's number 10 Waking Moment. If a third, I like number 3 High Power. Now this horse, if it gets in the heavy, stays in the heavy range, I'd sort of keep it back at third. But if it goes back to the soft, I think it can. It can go close to beating Primitivo. It was only 2.8 lengths off that occasion. It was a really good run from deep in the field to run on strong. And fourth up here, and I think it'll just run a nice race once again. So I'm happy to have it in for third, number 2 High Power. In for fourth, I like number 5 Semper Vidal. So it'll be up on the speed. We'll take a bit of catching. Last time out, didn't sit on the speed by Tory Joy. Didn't suit it too well. It just sort of came on okay. I think if it can get back up on the speed again, it'll prove it hard to run down. Of course, it's out of High Chaparral, so it enjoys this sort of distance range. So happy to have it in for fourth. Just to recap the numbers on the fourth of the card. Number 2 Primitivo, I think it'd be really hard to beat. In for second, I like number 10 Waking Moment. In for third, number 3 High Power. In for fourth, number 5 Semper Vidalis. Race number 5, Lambo 100 metre, benchmark 78. Look at the speed map here. I'd say Spiritual Pursuit will find the top. Agent Pippa might contest the lead, as well as Gala Moshe, Box and Miss Off, barriers 2 and 3. But I'd say Spiritual Pursuit finds the top and will be really hard to beat. It's paying $2.10, but I think it's one of the better bets on the card as well. It beat Invictus Salute last time out by 1.5 lengths. And if I was having a look at the form behind Deity, of course Invictus Salute won that race, beat Deity and by 1.4 lengths. I think the form is really good behind Spiritual Pursuit. I can't see why any other horse will turn the tables on it. So I'm happy to have it on top to beat number 4 Deity, or as I said, 1.4 lengths off Invictus Salute, which really did charge behind Spiritual Pursuit on that occasion when Spiritual Pursuit won. But you're looking at 3 lengths combined up there, so Deity's going to be pretty good to overturn that sort of margin. I know you're looking at different races there, but I'd say if Spiritual Pursuit beat Victor Salute fair and square and Deity couldn't run it down, then I'd say that Spiritual Pursuit should be winning. So I've got it in for second though, number 4 Deity. In for third, I do like a horse called number 6 Satin Slipper. I think this horse, first up, look, hasn't had a go on the heavy track. It's had 1 start on soft for 2 starts on soft track for 1 placing, but it's got the form. It was really disappointed last time out in 2 races behind Smart Melody, but of course Smart Melody was absolutely flying last spring. It's had 2 good trials leading in behind Sylvia's Mother and Harper's Choice, and I just think it could be ready to go. Comes back to its best, so I've got a high opinion of this horse, and I think it'll be really hard to beat. But just a bit of a query on the heavy track if it does stay in the heavy range. But barrier 1, Tommy Berry in the saddle, got to have it in. Pretty good odds for me, so I've got it in for third. In for fourth, I do like number 12 Moccasin Miss. Now the reason being, this horse was 0.2 of length off Worldly Pleasure last time out. Was 2.1 lengths off Natalia, of course, come out and franked the form one since. So form line's pretty good there. This horse hasn't missed a top 4 finish in 5 starts this preparation. So, look, isn't the biggest fan of racing the wets. Had 7 starts for 2 placings, and it's had 1 start in the heavy for a placing. But for me, I just think down the weights, Jason Collard in the saddle, who's riding terrifically at the moment, paying $19. Bit over the odds, I think it'll be in the finish. So just to recap the numbers on race number 5, number 3 Spiritual Pursuit on top to beat number 4 Deity. In for third, I like number 6 Satin Slipper, and in for fourth, number 12 Moccasin Miss. Race number 6, 1500 metre, benchmark 78. Checking out the speed map here, I'd say Reflectivity and Conaccio will try and get forward from barriers 3 and 4. I'd say Fuel out of barrier 8 will try and be up there in the speed. Arraignment, Love Shack Baby, Matt Maker will try to get forward, so a bit of speed in this race for runners to come on with. And for me, I think it'll set up really nice for number 3 Nah Well. It's going to need a little bit of luck off the inside barrier, but that was a good return last time out behind No Doubt, 4.3 lengths off. It really did chase home nicely from the back of the field. Second up stats are really good. I mean, first up stats had 5 starts for 2 placings, and obviously finished 5th first up at Randwick. And the second up stats are really, really good. It's had 3 starts for two wins and a third. Doesn't mind the soft track. Heavy going, it's had 3 starts for just the 1 win, but on soft it's had 6 starts for 1 win, 3 placings. But I just think that this horse, second up, will get the right run. It'll have all the speed to come off, and second up stats, I think it'll come into it with Hugh Bowman in the saddle and run over the top from late. So I've got it to beat number 9, Cyber Intervention, who was really good chasing Stellar Sea Sun last time out. And Stellar Sea Sun really well back that time out. Cyber Intervention carried 61.5 kilos. Only has to carry 57 this time around, so it gets that weight relief. It's had no placings second up, which is a little bit of a concern, but I think it'll enjoy the wet tracks. It's had 2 starts on a soft for a win. It's had 1 start on heavy for 1 place. So I just think that run was really good first up, and it can improve off that. And with the hot speed on, it should be able to chase into the race nicely. So I've got it in for second. In for third, I like number 6, Fuel. I think this horse paying over the odds. It'll prove really hard to run down. It obviously beat Noah. It was only just nudged out by No Escape last time out. And look at the form lines, of course. Noah well was 4 point. Let's bring it up. Sorry. It was 4.3 lengths. So I mean, Noah's got to make that 4 lengths gap. But I think there's a lot more speed in this race, and Fuel won't get it all its own way. But of the on-speed runners, it will be the one that I think will stick on. So I've got it in for third. In for fourth, I like number 1, Curra. Now this horse has been chasing pretty good. It hasn't missed top 4 finish from 4 starts. His preparation. I don't think it'll do it again. Was beaten by 1.5 lengths by Come On Carl last time out at Flemington. Chased home pretty nicely. Doesn't mind the soft track. It's had 10 starts for 4 wins, 3 placings. So if we get on that soft going, I might even consider bumping up a little bit. But on the heavy tracks, had 2 starts for 1 placing. So I'm happy to have it in for fourth at the moment with barrier 11. So just recap the numbers on race number 6. I do like number 3, Noah Well. I think it improved, and off those second up stats should be really hard to beat. In for second, I like number 9, Cyber Intervention. In for third, number 6, Fuel. And in for fourth, number 1, Curra. Race number 7, 400 metre. This is the Winter Stakes. Some really nice horses going around this. There's a stack of speed this as well. I'd say Stampede will try and fire at the front. First hand has barrier 16. Is going to have to really work to get to the lead, I'd say, and Cradle Mountain should be able to find the top from barrier 9. I'd say Boss Lane might use the inside, barrier 2 to get forward. Vorganza decide to go in this. I'd suggest they'll run in Melbourne, but it'd be interesting to see what they go with here with that horse. Seaway will be quite forward as well, so a lot of speed this, and I think it'll suit really nice for number 2, Eckstein. Draws barrier 15, might have a bit of luck, but it's going to be a lot of speed on. I think it'll charge into it nicely. There's only 1.5 lengths off of Vincent Bello, who of course has been flying across the Queensland Carnival, and that race of course was the Tattersalls Tiara, and it was just such a good run from deep in the fields. Was about 18th in running, and then charged home to finish 6th, only 1.5 lengths off. That's superior form to this. That is genuine Group 1 form. And then prior to that, you're looking at 3.3 off Savatiano in a Group 3. And then prior to that was in Group 1s, albeit disappointing behind Brutal, Dixie Blossoms and Canedna. But for me, it's not going to have to do too much to beat these. If it just shows up and runs close to its best, it should be winning. So I have it on top, number 2, Eckstein. To beat number 5, Gulwara, I think get a really good run off barrier 1. Might just be able to sit behind speed, around midfield, really charge into it late. Has really good wet track stats. It was obviously really good winning last time out. And a little bit of a step up in class, but this horse always shown a lot of ability, so I think it'll be well in the finish once again. Gulwar that we're talking about there. Just bring up the form here for number 5, Gulwar, and it meets first hand once again, but that was just such a good run to charge over the top late. On heavy, it's had 4 starts for 2 wins, 2 placings. On soft, 3 starts for a win and a placing. So this horse will have no problem getting through the ground, and will get a really nice run to the race. I've got it in for second. In for third, I do like number 7, Seaway. Now, for me, if it gets back to that soft going, I'd be really keen on it. While it stays heavy, I'm happy to keep it around that 3rd or 4th mark. But I thought it was pretty good. It was only 1.8 lengths off Gulwar last time out. It just sort of boxed on okay. That, of course, was on heavy going. But for me, if it gets back to that soft track, it will be really hard to beat. The second up stats are really good. 3 starts for 2 wins and a second. So I expect it to be in the finish, number 7, Seaway, with, of course, Glenn Boss in the saddle. Even fourth, I like number 3, New Tipperary. Now, this horse resumed well last time. It was only 0.9 length off Gauloir, and second up stats are really good. 7 starts for 4 wins and a second. Only problem is that the heavy track form's not great. It's had 4 starts on heaviest for 1 placing, and on soft though, it's had 6 starts for 2 wins and a place. So if it gets back that soft going, I think this horse can run a good race as well. So happy to have it in the top 4. So just to recap the numbers on the 7th race of the Winter Stakes. I like number 2, Eckstein on top. In for second, I like number 5, Gauloir. In for fourth, number 7, Seaway. And in for third, number 7, Seaway. And in for fourth, number 2, New Tipperary. Race number 8 on the card, 1200 metre race, benchmark 78. I'd say Tonsor off the inside here will zip forward off the inside barrier. River Bird, best guess, will be forward. Single Bullet will get forward. I'd say Zonk will try and find the lead. So a lot of speed in this race for runners for the back markers to come on. And I think of the back markers, I think number 6, Almanzora, appeals a lot to me. It was really good last time out. Chase Caesar home. Caesar, what a win. That was really, I made that a good thing of the day last time out, and I was really impressed to see it storm home and win well. That horse looks like it's back. But that for me, Caesar's a genuine Group 2, Group 1 horse. So for me, there's nothing wrong with that form line for Almanzora. Chased home nicely. It's had 1 start in the soft for a placing, so obviously that run was in a heavy and it chased home well. So I don't think it will have too much of a problem in the going, and Blake Shin in the saddle. So happy to have it on top to beat number 8, Southern Lad, who of course will come from the back as well. Sensational wet track stats, 2 starts for 2 wins, has had 2 starts on the heavy going for 1 win and a place. That win last time out, beating Epic Dan and right in the post, was a really good win. Dug deep to get home, so I'm happy to have it in for third. In the fourth, light number 5, Star for Reflection. This horse I've always had a bit of time for. Raced a lot of group races prior, looking at 1.7 lengths off Winter Bride. It was a third by an Avantage in a Group 3, 6 lengths off White Moss in a Group 2, and 5.9 lengths off Savatiano. But then it, of course, was 2.6 lengths off Passion Time. A little bit disappointed by Gauloir, but we'll get a good form line out of that. There's a few of those horses running around in a better race than the start prior. So this horse just comes in a race that it could win a benchmark 88 last time it ran it. This sort of level, it did win its race. That was a class 6, so no, not necessarily a benchmark 88, but a benchmark 94 was only 2.6 lengths off Pasture Time. So I think it'll be right into this. So happy to have it in for third, number 5, Star Reflection. And in for fourth, I like number 1, Marlunga. I think of the on-speed runners, this horse will stick on it, especially if it gets into that soft going. It's had 2 starts on the soft track for 2 wins. It's had 2 starts on the heavy for 1 placing. It's never won at Rosehill though. It's had 4 starts this track for 2 placings, so I'm happy to have it in for fourth. So that's number 1, Marlunga. So just recap the numbers on the 8th on the card. I do like number 6, Almanzora on top to beat number 8, Southern Lad. In for third, I like number 5, Star Reflection, and in for fourth, number 1, Marlunga. Race number 9, 1200 metre benchmark 78. Looking at the speed map here, this is actually a little bit of a hard race, but there's one horse I really like to go. I think Brilliant Choice will hit the front and be hard to run down. So Denawi will also be quite prominent. Handle the Truth might look to box seat or use barrier 1 to get up on the inside, be in the lead. Oxford Tycoon will be forward, as will Cadsby. So there's a lot of speed in this, but I do think there's 2 on-speed runners that will be really hard to chase down based off their class. And number 10, Brilliant Choice, will be hard to beat. That win first up last preparation, beating Northern River, was really good at Moonee Valley. Then it came out, was only beaten by 0.2 of a length by none other Mr. Quickie, who of course won the Queensland Derby. It's just is one of the better horses going around. So I think that form is really good. First up, got no problems there coming in. This reduced choice gelding, and the only question is it's never seen a soft track. That's my only query, but I'm happy to have it on top to beat. Number 5, Denawi, who I think is paying huge odds. This horse racing a lot of group races as a 3-year-old, and looking at last start, it was benchmark 78. Was just didn't chase on, but it was really disappointing. Beat by River Bird, but had a good trial recently at Warwick Farm. I think it can just return to its best. If it's on the heavy track, I might be looking elsewhere, but if it's on that soft going, I think at $70 odds it will run a really nice race. So I've got it in for second. In for third, I do like number 13, Sky Ray, who really did chase home nicely 2 starts ago behind Southern Lad, who of course goes round as my second pick in the race prior. A bit disappointing last time out behind Sir Elton, but it does get the quick backup here, 7-day backup. So interesting how it will go this time round. But I think of the back runners, it'll be chasing on. And $31 odds is massively over the odds for me, so I've got it in for third. In for fourth, number 9, Oxford Tycoon of the On-Speed Runners. I think it will also be hard to catch. It was a bit disappointing last night out in the heavy track, but I think it can bounce back. Prior to that, it was in good form, only 2.2 of a length off Passenger Time, who has obviously been flying this preparation. So I am keen to lean that way. So this is the final race of the card at Rosehill. I like number 10, Brilliant Choice on top. As long as it handles the going, I think it'd be really hard to beat. In for second, I like number 5, Denawi. In for third, number 13, Sky Ray. And for fourth, number 9, Oxford Tycoon. So that's my preview at Rosehill. Sorry, I did forget to do this in the Flemington meeting, and I do this a lot, so I really do apologise. But look, looking at the best of the day, look, I do think that looking through the card now, just having a look. I think number 2, Primitivo, and race number 4 will be really hard to beat. I think the form line's really good behind it. So race number 4, number 2, Primitivo, paying $2.60. I think number 3, Spiritual Pursuit, $2.10, will be really hard to beat also. Looking at ones at odds, I know this isn't huge value, but number 2, Eckstein, looks a good each way play in the Winter Stakes, race number 7. And in race... just looking across, race number 8, number 6, El Manzor at $7.50 and $2.70 place looks a nice bet as well. So sorry about not putting that in the Flemington meeting. It'll be in the description down below. So just keep an eye out. Just go and check out that Caulfield preview. I've also going to have another video coming up soon with my look around the tracks. We'll be looking at, of course, the meetings at Doomben and also Morphettville tomorrow. So keep tuned for that. Good luck on the punt on Saturday if you're on, and thanks for watching and appreciate the support. Hopefully we get plenty of winners.